All right, everybody. I just wanted to get an exhibition game in of the Howie Shanks 2.0. That's actually going to be starting tonight on Steve Tate's channel. Kind of discussed it with Steve, and I really think he should be the one to do the inaugural game, the inaugural real game. So that'll be later today, tonight on his channel. So if you haven't subscribed to the Steve Tate channel, please do so. It's going to be fun. And for those of you who've never subscribed to it, there's another Steve Tate that's some kind of preacher dude or something. It's definitely not our Steve. So best way to find it is just type Steve space Tate space and then just type ACT, right? That's just starting like for Action PC, right? Because he does all kinds of stuff in Action PC, and that will get you to his channel. All right, I'm just gonna do one game here, and this is gonna be Detroit at Des Moines. All right, and my setup is going to be a little different than MV's and Steve's. Steve did a beautiful job on these baseball cards, as I will show you. However, I don't like playing with the sort of heads on the field. That looks really weird to me. Maybe it's from past experiments with chemicals. I have no idea. Um, but you'll still see them in game for the batter and the pitcher and when I mouse over. So that's just my preferred kind of look. I also have the pitcher at the top of the screen and the batter at the lower part as far as their stats and everything. I know MV has his way of playing. He likes to play in the three-quarter view. I like to play in full screen view. So, you know, but at least we all have the logo. We all have the same players, everything. Really, really looking forward to this. So I had to fix a few issues on my end because I had the photos on the field and it just didn't feel right for me. So, but they are beautiful, and you'll see them throughout the games and throughout this season. So, we're going to do an exhibition game again. We're going to go to Detroit at Des Moines, and this is an exhibition. Opening day is actually tonight. On the Steve Chase today, tonight, he hasn't said when. Just sometime today. So let's go ahead and play. Des Moines would be the home team. Let's do this. Playing at my version of Wrigley Field. Again, everybody's ballparks are going to be a little bit different, um, but it'll be fun. It will be fun. All right, and let's throw Silver King in there at the pitcher as the pitcher, and let's get to it. All right, welcome to Wrigley Field for this exhibition between Detroit and Des Moines. It's going to be Bob Gibson um, for the Detroit Coyotes, and he will be opposed by Silver King for the Des Moines Demons. Let's play ball. Welcome to Wrigley Field,
Play
the home team of
ball!
the Des Moines Demons. So there you can see an example of these beautiful baseball cards that Steve did. Every player is carded, and what's really cool is if, like, you can see there's Frank Robinson. So each of them, if it's a Hall of Famer, you'll see up in the right corner the Hall of Fame logo. So these are not all Hall of Famers. We'll kind of talk a little bit about this league as we go along and how we created it. I've never seen anything as unique as this. So we can see Andrew Jones does not have the Hall of Fame logo. However, in the lower right corner of each and every baseball card, if the player was chosen from the National League season, he would have the National League logo. If he was from the American League, you will see the American League logo. However, Steve kind of missed on here. Ray Schalk is a Hall of Famer, so maybe need to let him know that. So Schalk is in the Hall of Fame. Anyhow, there's Joe Jackson, who should be in the Hall of Fame. So, as a great way to look at these cards, let's look at the starting defense here for the Des Moines Demons from left to right and left field. It is the judge, Frank Robinson, in center. Andrew Jones, and over and right, Giancarlo Stanton. From first to third around the horn, Todd Helton at first base, Bobby Grich at second, Edgar Renteria at shortstop, Harlan Clift at third, Ray Shaw catching, and Silver King pitching. And again, just beautiful, beautiful work done by Steve, and he and Big Clue have done amazing work. MV has done a lot of exhibitions on his channel. Everybody getting their manager files in. Trade talks are done, and this afternoon or this evening will be opening night, so hopefully we can get some folks in. All right, so game time weather here in Chicago. It is 57 degrees, and it is clear. Winds 5 miles per hour right to left. And let's play ball. Shoeless Joe Jackson, last season hitting 409. So actually for the season, so how this works is for the real stats. Every round, each individual manager was assigned a random year. So maybe manager 1 was given 1927, manager number 2, 1968, what have you. Everybody had 10 minutes to pick a player from that year. So that's why you will see these stats down here actually use the data from Dave Cook Sports. So we were able to put this together as the 3 of us actually have all the seasons for this game, so we were able to do this, and we're just ready to go. So the limit was 5 Hall of Famers in sort of what was classically known as Major League Baseball. And then we had 3 rounds where you could pick Negro League players. They have their own logo as well, and you could load up on a few more Hall of Famers, provided you got the proper year. All right, so Shoeless Joe Jackson, 409 hitter, 7 home runs, 83 runs batted in, and we are underway as Silver King finishes his warm-up pitches. Hope you enjoy this little exhibition. It is very, very unique. It is a sort of all-time greats league. Jackson slaps this one to third. Harlan Clift up with it, and the throw across the diamond to Todd Helton for the easy 5-3 putout. 1 up, 1 down here in the first. Brings up second baseman Fred Dunlap, a 412 hitter, 13 home runs, no runs batted in for Dunlap. King sets and fires the 0-1 delivery to Dunlap. Fastball. This one slapped into left for a base hit. Frank Robinson up with it, and Fred Dunlap aboard. So Dunlap into his lead as Barry Bonds steps in. So Bonds, 341 hitter, 45 home runs, 90 runs batted in. King checks Dunlap at first, 1 down, just underway here. And here's the pitch to Bonds. Bonds swings. This one back to King, and King will go to Gritch for out number 1. But they will to retire Dunlap, but they will not get Bonds. So Bonds aboard thanks to the fielder's choice. And it brings up Mark McGuire. You can probably guess what season this is. A 299 hitter, 70 home runs, 147 runs batted in. So as far as both teams go here, it's pretty decent power on both sides. Probably Bonds and McGuire giving a slight edge here. All right. So let's look at Mark McGuire's card. There it is. Looks really, really great. These are beautiful. Silver King deals with 2 down. McGuire swings in the first pitch, line to left. And Brooks Robinson reels it in. So no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left. We played a half inning. It's the Detroit Coyotes nothing and the Des Moines Demons coming to bat. Let's look at the starting defense here for Detroit. And left field is Barry Bonds. And center, Joe DiMaggio. And right, Bryce Harper. From first to third, Mark McGuire, Fred Dunlap, Dave Concepcion, Felton Snow. There's our Negro League player, and you can see in the bottom right corner the Negro League logo. And I've seen this logo a number of times. This may very well be an official logo from the Negro League. Certainly the National and American League logos and the Hall of Fame logos are official. There's Johnny Bench, also lacking his Hall of Fame. So I'm not sure whether I have an older photo pack or not. But anyhow, we know Johnny's in the Hall of Fame. Catching. And Bob Gibson pitching, also lacking the Hall of Fame logo. But people that come to this channel and to Steve's channel and to MV's channel, you guys already know. All right. You're going to see some players you've heard of, some players you haven't, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Here's Harlan Clift. Harlan Clift with the St. Louis Browns, hitting .302, 20 home runs, 73 runs batted in for him. And the menacing Bob Gibson peers in, has the sign from Johnny Bench, the wind in the 0-2, and big rip and a miss by Harlan Clift, and he goes down on strikes. Hang up a K for Gibson, that's number 1, and here's George Burns playing a DH role. The league decided to go into DH, that way you get to see a couple extra batters. George Burns hitting .358, 4 home runs, 114 runs batted in for Burns. Bench with the target. Gibson sets and fires. Burns swinging the first pitch. Comebacker to Gibson at the mound. And Gibson will fire onto Mark McGuire. So 2 quick outs. Gibson with that sort of falling off the mound delivery. Gibson threw so hard, but fielding his position nicely there off the bump. And here's a dangerous hitter now, the judge, Frank Robinson. Great career both with Cincinnati and with Baltimore. Robinson, 342 hitter, 39 home runs, 136 runs batted in. What I want to see here really quickly, and I can't see it from here, I have to do it from, I guess from rosters. But you can actually, you'd be able to see, if you wanted to, what season was chosen for these guys. So it was a fun draft because, let's say you had a year with Babe Ruth, but it was a later Babe Ruth. Do you take that Ruth, or do you gamble and wait for an earlier year to get him, or what have you? So that's what made this draft unique, and this was the really the brainchild of Todd B. So I think everybody in the league has Todd B. to thank for this brilliant idea, which I know I would have never ever thought of. I like doing just random, creating a player pool and putting them on teams, letting AI draft whatever they want, but I would have never thought of something like this, and this is just brilliant stuff. All right. So, 2 down. Bob Gibson sets and fires to the dangerous Frank Robinson, and on the 0-2 pitch, routine fly ball to right. Bryce Harper pulls it in, and that does it. No runs, no hits, no errors. And after 1 here at Wrigley Field, the home of the Des Moines Demons, we are scoreless. That brings up from the Philadelphia Phillies, Bryce Harper. So Harper hitting .330, 42 home runs, 99 runs batted. Again, a lot of power on both of these teams. Silver King, ready to work. He winds and fires the 0-2, and Harper looks at a strike 3 call. This curveball just dropping in. And back to the bench goes Bryce Harper. Here's Joe DiMaggio. Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? A nation turns its lonely eyes to you, in the immortal words of Simon & Garfunkel. And the song Mrs. Robinson, that particularly for Robbie Wartburg, who may not have heard of the song. DiMaggio, .357 hitter, 30 home runs, 125 runs batted in. Silver King sets and fires to Joe. The 1-2, and this one smacked hard to left for extra bases. DiMaggio in there with a 1-out double. So Detroit with a runner in scoring position, and here's Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench hitting it at .293 clip, 45 home runs, 148 runs batted in. There's Joe out there looking at his card. His baseball card, again designed by Steve Tate. King into the wind in the 0-2 delivery to Bench. Bench swings, base hit, left field. Robinson up with it. That's going to score. DiMaggio, RBI double by Johnny Bench, and the Detroit Coyotes jumping out to a 1-0 lead here in the top of the second. And here's Felton Snow. So Felton Snow Basically, this team is so stacked with power hitters. I mean, even Dunlap from the 19th century has some power here. But only 3 single-digit home run hitters, power hitters on this Detroit lineup. Shoeless Joe Jackson, who can still crank one out occasionally. Felton Snow and then Dave Concepcion. Everybody else in double digits and home runs. And after you get past Dunlap, then you're looking at the lowest home run total for a season, Joe DiMaggio. So very, very, very powerful team here. On the other side, for Des Moines, the same kind of holds true. In fact, the leadoff hitter, Harlan Clift, had 20 home runs in the season from which he was selected. And then again, double-digit home runs going down the line a little bit. Grich and Renteria, each at 13 home runs, Shock with just 1. But power where it should be, so it should be a fun game. Would love to see your pitchers duel with all this power. All right. So Felton Snow from the Negro Leagues hitting .333, 3 home runs, 69 runs batted in. King works the 1-1 to Snow, and Snow base hit. Center field, Andrew Jones up with it, and bobbling the ball. Bench will round third, and he will score. Felton Snow will get to second on the error by Jones. So single and an E8, and it's a 2-0 Detroit lead as shortstop Dave Concepcion comes to the plate, hitting .271, 8 homers, 64 runs batted in for Concepcion. King into his motion, and the 1-1 pitch, fastball. This one bounced to second. Bobby Grich with a quick throw. This one getting away from Helton, but Helton able to keep it in front of him. However, Felton Snow able to score on that error, so it's an E4 on Bobby Grich. That one, Helton had to desperately dig out of the dirt and quickly, or Concepcion was off to the races as well. So 3-0 here. Error's a bit costly for Des Moines as Shoeless Joe steps in. We're back at the top of the order. Shoeless Joe grounded to third back in the first. Silver King delivers to Jackson, 1 out. And this one chopped to second, and they will get Concepcion, the lead runner, but Shoeless Joe aboard the fielder's choice. Jackson, what he might lack in power, makes up for speed. 41 steals. So Detroit with a lot of options at the top of his order as Fred Dunlap steps in. Dunlap single back in the first. Very first hit of this ball game. King checks Jackson. Jackson dives back under Todd Helton's tag. King brings it home now. The 0-1 spitball, long fly ball to left, but Frank Robinson running back and making a fine running catch to retire the side. However, not before 3 runs on 3 hits and 2 errors occur. We go to the bottom of the second inning, and it's the Detroit Coyotes 3, the Des Moines Demons nothing. Bob Gibson here will face Giancarlo Stanton, Todd Helton, and I'm sorry. So Giancarlo Stanton, sorry, I had a bit of a twinge there, hitting .281. 59 home runs, 132 runs batted in. The righty stands in against Gibson. Gibson sets and delivers. Here's the 0-2 fastball, and Stanton, big cut and a miss. There's no way he was catching up to that from Big Bob Gibson, and that one 92 on the gun. And here is Todd Helton. 347 average, 32 homers, 96 runs batted in. Helton should definitely be considered for Cooperstown. Bob Gibson winds and deals the 3-1. Helton worked him deep and lays off the breaking ball down, and Helton avoids it 1 away. So Des Moines trying to get something started here with 1 out. Todd Helton with just 3 steals for the season he was taken from. And here is Andrew Jones, 263 hitter, 51 homers, 129 runs batted in. Bob Gibson glances over at Helton. Johnny Bench set. Gibson deals the 0-1 delivery to Andrew Jones, and Gibson hits Jones. Oh, and the boos going up here around Wrigley Field, and Andrew Jones very careful to hide any facial expression. So Bob Gibson, a little bit of headhunting there. It looked like Jones might have been crowding the plate, and Bob Gibson was known for establishing that area as his. All right, from the Baltimore Orioles now, we have Bobby Grich, 260 hitter, 13 home runs, 57 runs batted in. So decent pop, but Grich really in there, I think, for his defense. So Helton is second, Jones at first, one away, 3-0 in favor of Detroit as Gibson brings it to Grich. 3-1 pitch, fastball, and this one missing. This one low and in, and Gibson has it loaded, looking for possible double play here. Edgar Renteria hitting .330 at 13 home runs, 100 runs batted in. Ray Schalk waits on deck, one down. Bob Gibson hoping to induce a double play ball. Hey, Big Clue. Yeah, I got today and tomorrow off, so hope to do some baseball. Kind of made it, you know, that I felt that Steve should do the inaugural opening day game later today or tonight. Steve always sort of nebulous about when he's going to go on. He says later today or tonight. So hopefully he can, he'll put a little, not only in Discord, but also on his YouTube channel. You can actually put up comments. So hopefully we'll get some folks to come over for opening night. I know he's going to be doing some last minute stuff, sort of tidying up, and then go into a broadcast, and we'll get this thing underway. I have the newest version. Steve's just posted this in the Discord. All the manager files are included. All right, to continue showing off these cards, here is Edgar Renteria. Bases loaded, nowhere to put him. Bob Gibson fires. Renteria swinging on the first pitch, base hit to left. Big hit there. Helton will score. Bases remain loaded, and the Des Moines Demons get their first hit and a run. And it's now 3-1. Nebulous about getting things done. Sounds like a real Geek Squad to me. Absolutely. Well, at least he's nebulous as far as maybe not so much getting things done, but you know, Steve's just, I'll be on later or this evening, and that's a lot of hours. So, but really looking forward to this finally, this opening night. I'm not going to be able to broadcast a lot of games this week, so again, those honors are going to have to go to MV and to Steve Tate. Is by the time I'm getting home from work, for a few of the nights I can do it. There's one night I've got to work to 11, and I don't think there's anybody going to be up at midnight. So, but hope to do as many games as I can. I'm working some different things in my job now. So, all right, here's Ray Schalk. Harlan Cliff waits on deck. Base is still loaded, and only one out. So Des Moines threatening for more, plating one here in the bottom of the second. Gibson deals the 0-1 to Cracker Schalk. Curveball. This one given a ride out to DiMaggio in center at the track, makes the catch. Tagging at third is Andrew Jones. And here comes Des Moines. It is now 3-2. Oh, they are fun to watch, aren't they? You think, I love that, yeah? You tickled that, Big Clue says he's tickled anytime I can do a broadcast before 4 p.m. He says, I think it's great Ken, meaning Ken Castro, can watch one before it's bedtime. Shots fired already. All right, really looking forward to tonight in this first game. And I hope I'm not managing in the first game. I just want to really kind of hang back and watch. All right, 2 on, 2 down, and 2 in. And we swing back around the top of the order for the Des Moines Demons for Harlan Cliff, who struck out back in the first. Gibson looking as menacing as usual, whether he has a 9-run lead or a 2-run deficit. Neither applying here. Gibson deals the 1-1. Cliff swings. Fly ball to left. This one has distance. Barry Bonds leaping against the ivy makes the catch to retire the side. But 2 runs on 1 hit, no errors. There was a hit batsman. and 2 left on. And after 2, it's the Detroit Coyotes of Steve Tate 3 and the Des Moines Demons. I believe this is Rob Tomlinson's team 2. We go to the top of the 3rd. Silver King to face Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, and Tommy Harper. I want to show off, if I can, just randomly. I do want to show off a few of these cards and how things were carded and everything. So there's Andrew Jones. And then for those of you who don't have Action PC, this will do just as Out of the Park does. So you always have the real stats from the season, whatever your data source was for the player. But it's going to track all this all through the season, and you can create amazingly detailed reports, player ratings, how that particular player is managed. Just such a crazy deep game. You have game logs for each player, what he did. So such an insanely deep baseball sim. And why folks are messing around with other weird PC games, excluding Out of the Park, which is also as deep. Why you play PC replay baseball when this is around here and it's deeper? Anyhow, play what you love. I'm just being a curmudgeon. Different vibe calling it an action PC game. It's definitely slower paced than Out of the Park, but I'm liking it. All right, Silver King deals to Barry Bonds. Bonds swinging on the first pitch, and fly ball to right, and Giancarlo Stanton camps under it, makes the catch. 1 up, 1 away for Mark McGuire, who's nothing for 1. He lined to left back in the first. So Silver King has struck out 1 in this game. He's worked 2 1/3 thus far. He deals the 0-2, and McGuire swing and a miss. So nice healthy cut, but not able to catch up to this rather slower fastball. 88 on the gun. So 2 away for Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper struck out. So I'm looking at that. So this would be King delivering the 1-1. Harper swings, base hit, right field. Stanton and Jones converge. Stanton up with the ball, gets it into the infield. So Bryce Harper aboard for Joe DiMaggio. Harper not known for his speed. Joe 1 for 1. Double back in the second. I think when I see DiMaggio, I always think of that play where he sent that long. He thought it was gone. Gianfrido, I believe it was, made the catch, and you see DiMaggio just kind of kick up the infield dirt. Joe DiMaggio, not known as a ball player that would sort of belay his emotions, if you will, or betray his emotions, or what have you. So a big kick on the infield dust by Joe DiMaggio would be absolute utter frustration in others. Silver King with the 1-1 to Joe. And DiMaggio base hit to left, and they had the hit and run on him. Bryce Harper makes it to second as Frank Robinson gets the ball in. So 2 on for Detroit, 2 away. Johnny Bench is 1 for 1 in the contest. RBI single back in the second. He scored DiMaggio. Silver King has the sign from Cracker Shock. Here is the wind in the 0-2 to Johnny Bench. Oh, Johnny Bench, just a big whiff. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. And Detroit getting him on, but not getting him in. We go to the bottom of the 3rd inning, and the score remains the Coyotes 3 and the Demons 2. Yeah, certainly miss Cousin Ken. But he's been showing up a lot, and looking forward to it. I think the big draw for people is I just haven't had time to go ballpark hunting as Steve Tate has. So you're going to see some beautiful ballparks on his broadcasts, able to use some from MLB The Show. I'll get around to it, but I think it's just more fun just playing the game right now. And I'm also converting this to Out of the Park 24, so that's going to be taking up some of my spare time when it's too late to broadcast, because I know everybody has to get their bedtimes, right? Big Clue asks, did you notice what I did yesterday on Willie Mays' 92nd birthday? Not one single piece of evidence that Mays is alive. Not even a video. Thank you for the Giants. Nothing. No personal appearances. Health must really be waning, right? Yeah. And Vita Blue, may his memory be eternal. You know, the great ones. You know, I know it must be. I guess the Giants are kind of taking a let's wait and see, or let's hope. I mean, but arguably, perhaps, I think second to Babe Ruth. I think Willie Mays. Willie Mays, as far as once baseball was integrated, I don't think I would get any argument here that Willie Mays was the greatest player. So I will say, in my opinion, Willie Mays was the greatest player in baseball after integrated. But if you take the entirety of baseball, I think he is second only to Babe Ruth, at least right now. And say, hey kid, wow, what a blow. We'd lose Vita Blue, and then we'd lose Willie Mays. God. You've got Mays number 2. Yeah, okay, so you and I are totally agreed on that. Ruth at 1, Mays at 2. Which is, so how amazing baseball is, because when you think of all the great players throughout history, you know, Ted Williams, Joe DiMaggio, and we're not even talking pitchers yet, right? It's just incredible, and I know of no other. Again, granted, I'm not a fan of other sports except for boxing to a certain extent, but I can't imagine any other game where you can have this perpetual discussion about the greatest. And then when you take in the Negro Leagues, had there not been segregation, maybe it might have been, you know, Willie Mays and then Josh Gibson. You know, a whole different conversation, right? All right. And the few out there who don't know the way I broadcast is a lot of breaks between batters, because I like to talk about the game of baseball, not just I'm not trying to recreate a broadcast. So I'm not going to beg anybody indulgence for having these little conversations with Big Clue. I enjoy them. I have smart people that come to this channel. All right, George Burns grounded back to Gibson in the first. And Gibson deals. Here's the 0-2. And this one just a little too hopper to Concepcion. And he's up with it quickly. And over to retire George Burns for out number 1. Gracie cheering from the stands. Yes, absolutely. Ruth gets the edge because he could pitch. That's, again, my thinking exactly, my friend. And I would, you know, and I think also there would be no contention that had Ruth remained a pitcher, and he was one of the most dominant pitchers in the dead ball era, I think Ruth would have made Hall of Fame as a pitcher. Should Shohei Ohtani keep up what he's doing? We have Ruth 2.0, right? All right. You know, but one of the reasons why we did the McGreevy League was to kind of remember so many players that were forgotten. And I know everybody knows that my favorite player is Hannes Wagner. Hannes Wagner, a true 5-tool player. You know, everybody remembers Ty Cobb, and kind of remember, but so many great players forgotten. You know, Tris Speaker, and you know, even some very good players like Ken Williams. So guess what? You're going to see them in this league. So a lot of fun in the Howie Shanks 2.0. Plus some guys that you wouldn't expect. Guys you probably would never pick in an all-time greats league, you'll find in these teams. I mean, a lot of people aren't going to think about Harlan Cliff, but yet he was a fine player. All right, the judge, Frank Robinson, batting with 1 down. Robinson flied to right back in the first. Giancarlo Stanton waits on deck. Bob Gibson with a 3-1 delivery. And this one misses by Gibson. This is ball 4, so Gibbons walked 3, struck out 2. So Gibson, not the sharp Bob Gibson that we think of. But again, exhibition game. Gibson might be just holding back a little bit. And through the miracle of whatever you want to call it, Gibson will probably be starting for Detroit tonight if that's what Steve decides to do his team. All right, so Stanton struck out. One of 2 strikeouts against Gibby. Frank Robinson at first has some speed. 18 steals in the season from which he was chosen. Bob Gibson winds and fires. Count full. Oh, and I mean, Stanton absolutely just laser shots this one into left field. Bonds getting back there, though, quickly and getting that ball in. Robinson could have easily scored, but for Bonds getting a nice fortuitous bounce there in left field. So 2 in scoring position, 1 down for Todd Helton. Helton drew a walk against Gibson back in the second. Bench sets. Gibson working from the stretch with 2 in scoring position. A 3-1. And Gibson just off his mark. He walks Todd Helton. So yes, baseball fans, even Bob Gibson could get in trouble. But Gibson will get angrier and angrier. So the bases loaded. And here comes Andrew Jones. So Des Moines did have the bases loaded in the second, did get 2 out of it, could have gotten more, left with 2 in scoring position. Let's see what they can do here. Jones was plunked by Gibson back in the second. Gibson sets and fires the 0-2 fastball. Andrew Jones sends this to DiMaggio in center, who squeezes the glove around it. Tagging at third and scoring is Frank Robinson, and the Des Moines Demons here in the bottom of the third plate, 1 to tie it. It is now 3-3. So the line thus far, the Coyotes 3-6-0, the Demons 3-2-2. Detroit has stranded 4. Des Moines has left 2 hanging on the pond, as it were. Swimming on the pond. Bobby Grich walked in the second. Stanton at second, Helton at first, 2 away here. Des Moines looking for more. Gibson's 3-2 pitch. Fastball and Bobby Grich. This one in at the knees. And Gibson picks up his 3rd strikeout, but 1 run, 1 hit, no errors. We've played 3 here at Wrigley Field, and we are tied at 3. People forget how great Giancarlo Stanton is because he's injured all the time. Yep, if he can limp up to 500 home runs, he makes Cooperstown. Needs 118 to get there, and he's only 33 years old. 3 healthy seasons. I think you're right. Stanton's quite a player. He really is. It's the injuries. And, you know, another player comes to mind in terms of injuries, Big Clue, who is in the Hall of Fame, of course, is the kid, Griffey Jr. Imagine if Griffey Jr. had more healthy seasons. Right, we would have a home run king. I think he would have been the all-time home run king, or at least close to Bonds. Sandy Koufax. How much longer he could have gone? That's a whole broadcast in itself, isn't it? Talking about how injuries can cut down these great players. I think Stanton makes the Hall, though. Yep, he says, saw it close up and personal for a decade, easily 700 plus, if not the record. That park was made for swing, wasn't it? And what a sweet swing the kid had, huh? Wow. You got to wonder how many younger players, right? So Babe Ruth, it was said, patterned his swing on that of Shoeless Joe Jackson. So how many kids, right, maybe right now, maybe in rookie league, Big Clue, you know, what have you, maybe, you know, there's got to be a few kids out there that playing some ball right now that patterned their swing after the kid. Love the continuity. Love it, love it, love it. All right, Felton Snow will lead it off here, followed by Dave Concepcion, and then Shoeless Joe Jackson. So Felton Snow with an RBI single to center, bench scoring. King deals the 0-2 delivery. And Felton Snow sends this one deep to left, but Frank Robinson has it tracked on the track. 1 up, 1 down. Yeah, right? He says everyone his age and younger, for sure. Big Clue, I remember hearing about this 19-year-old rookie with that sweet swing when he was in high school. He was an instant superstar, too. Yes, he was. And handled it with grace. Handled it with grace. Of course, Griffey from a good pedigree. I mean, his dad was no slouch, not quite Hall of Fame, but wow. He's hey, there is Aaron Reed. Big Clue says one of his personal thrills was being there at the park for opening day 2000 for his first game as a Red. Wow, that had to have been something. As a Pirates fan, never got to see the kid play except on the telly. Griffey was always somebody that was a little bit out of our payroll, but what a great, great player, Ken Griffey Jr., huh? It's weird to think of him in the Hall of Fame. It's weird to think of him in the Hall of Fame because I forget, you and I were talking about another player. Oh, we were talking about Mike Trout, right? So this is what, Trout's 13th or 14th season, and I still can't get my head around that. And, I remember a young, Griffey Jr., and he's a Hall of Famer. It's time marches on, right? Tempest Fugit, my friend. All right, Concepcion is 0 for 1. He grounded to second, was safe on a throwing error, and Felton Snow able to score. And at that point, it was Detroit 3, Des Moines nothing. It's a 3-3 ball game now with Silver King with a 2-1 to Concepcion. This changeup grounded hard to Renteria, giving him plenty of time to fire on to Ty the Helton for out number 2. Aaron Reed says Griffey was traded to the Mariners in 90 to play with his son, but the Reds still gave him a World Series ring. And again, class. The Griffeys are class. And we in Pennsylvania are very happy to claim the kid. Big Clue saying just saw Trout leading his kid, 3 years old now, up the dugout steps yesterday wearing a mini Trout uniform. He laughed out loud. He says, I thought, holy crap, I've been following Trout since he was drafted. He's got a kid. It doesn't make sense, man. It's weird. I think, as we're growing up, right, and so, right, you go through these stages where you have all the players are older than you are, right? Then the next stage is the players are your age. And then as you're moving on, the players that are your age, they're getting close to retirement. Then you're kind of looking at the young kids. And then the next step, of course, is you go to a ball game and it's like, especially if you're going to, like, say, again, short season, Class A, whatever, or even some of the guys in Double A, it's like these are kids. Really kids. All right, Shoeless Joe Jackson is nothing for 2 against Silver King. He's grounded out twice. Silver King into his motion in the 1-2 delivery. Spitball, and Joe Jackson sends this one a routine fly ball to center field. And Andrew Jones lopes over and makes the catch. No runs, no hits, no errors. 3.5 done here at Wrigley Field. We are knotted at 3. Edgar Renteria will lead it off here for Des Moines in the bottom of the 4th. Renteria singled, scoring Todd Helton. Bob Gibson, again, not up to his usual sharpness. 3 strikeouts, 4 walks. So a Cardinal versus a Cardinal, the two never playing together, of course. Gibson deals. Full count to Renteria. This one line to left. And Barry Bonds hauling that one in. So one away for Cracker Shock. Sacrificed back in the second, scoring Andrew Jones. Gibson brings it home. The 1-0. Shock swings. Oh, great stop by Dave Concepcion. Full extension up and able to make the hard peg to Mark McGuire at first to retire Shock for the second out. We go back to the top of the top of the batting order for the Des Moines Demons. Harlan Clift, who was nothing for 2, he struck out and flied to very deep left center. Bob Gibson into his motion. Count even, and Clift sends this one deep to center, but DiMaggio has it in his sights and gets it just at the border of the track for out number 3. No runs, no hits, no errors. 4 done here, and we are tied at 3, heading to the top of the 5th inning. And it'll be the number 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Detroit Coyotes: Fred Dunlap, Barry Bonds, and Mark McGuire. Time definitely moves on. Yep, Takes you back to your childhood, don't they? It absolutely does. Aaron Reed says it's so interesting to see the kinds of player he grew up watching. Right? Biggio, right? Bichette, right? Just to name a few. I just saw Bichette when I got to America. I saw him in I think his dad was actually a coach, and he was playing for the Richmond Flying Squirrels or something, AA ball. Saw him against the Harrisburg Senators. I'm thinking, okay, thinking of Dante Bichette. Here's his kid. All right, Fred Dunlap batting with the bases empty to lead it off. Here's Silver King. Fires it in. Dunlap. Routine fly ball to Andrew Jones in center. And that one comes down easily into his glove. One away here. Barry Bonds. So what has been really key is to keep these huge bats quiet. Bonds, nothing for two in the game. Grounded out in the first and fly to deep right center back in the third. Silver King brings it. The 1-2 delivery. Fastball. Bonds swings on this. High and deep. And this one is so far gone. It was like an artillery shell over the Battle of the Somme. Barry Bonds breaking the tie here in the top of the fifth, just as we're talking about keeping the big bats of this Detroit lineup quiet. It is now 4-3. Barry Bonds absolutely gets all of it. Let's have another look at it. And I mean, this one just absolutely crushed. There we go. All right, Mark McGwire, nothing for two. He is lined out and struck out. Can they go back to back against Silver King? The 0-2 curveball, and nothing doing there. The big hammer by Silver King, and Mark McGwire will grab some pine. 2 out, 1 in, and doesn't get too much easier with Bryce Harper. Harper is struck out and singled in the ball game. Base is empty. Silver King delivers the 1-2 to Bryce Harper. Harper swings, and this one lined to center. Andrew Jones playing it on the hop. So Detroit picking up its 8th base hit of the game, and here's Joe DiMaggio, perfect 2 for 2 at the dish. A double and a single. Bryce Harper at first. Again, another look at Bryce's card. There's Joe again. As I mentioned at the top of the broadcast, I don't like to play with, and as beautiful as these cards are, I like this sort of display better instead of the little talking heads or whatever around the field. So but you guys will be able to see them all at the same time in their full glory on MV's channel and Steve Tate's. King deals to DiMaggio, but again, these are beautiful cards. This is just my preference. Bouncer to Renteria, Renteria to Helton. Side retired, but a home run by Barry Bonds. And the Coyotes go up 4-3 as we go to the bottom of the fifth. It's okay, Aaron. It doesn't matter if you can spell Spanish names or not. We know who you're talking about, right? Not a worry, my friend. All right, George Burns, number 234 hitters for the Des Moines Demons. George Burns, Frank Robinson, and Giancarlo Stanton. Gibby deals. Curveball swung on, first pitch by Burns, and Joe DiMaggio coming in and a bit to his left to make the running catch. 1 up, 1 down for Frank Robinson. Robinson flied to right back in the first and walked in the third. There he is. Certainly one of the most fearsome hitters in baseball. Gibson brings it, the 0-2 to Robinson, and this one lined right back to Bob Gibson. So 2 quick outs here, and that brings up Giancarlo Stanton. He is struck out and has a double. Gibson sets and fires the 0-2 fastball. And a swing and a miss. Gibson picking up strikeout number 4. No runs, no hits, no errors. 5 in the books now, and it's the Coyotes 4, the Demons 3, due up. Johnny Bench, Felton Snow, and Dave Concepcion. So the line on Silver King thus far, through 5 innings of work, 4 strikeouts for him. He has yet to walk a batter. Johnny Bench now in the box. Back cocked, ready to go. King with the 0-2 to Johnny Bench. Changeup. This one on the outside corner. And hang up McKay for Silver King. That's number 5. 1 down. Felton Snow. Single to center. There's an error. Bench scoring on the play. King brings it. 1-0 changeup. And this one chopped to second. No trouble at all for Bobby Grich, firing on to Todd Helton. 2 up, 2 down here in the Detroit 6th. And here's shortstop Dave Concepcion. He was safe in a throwing error in the 2nd, scoring Felton Snow. The 0-1 fastball, 2 hopper to Renteria at short, and the peg to Todd Helton. Detroit goes quietly. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It's still 4-3. Again, Steve Tate will be on a little later this afternoon. And then this afternoon, this evening, whatever that is, and there will be a game by Steve. The opening night, finally, of Howie Shanks 2.0. Big clue. His favorite loose story, someone related about graffiti in a public restroom in the early 1970s. Someone had scribbled, of course, Jesus is the answer, and below that a second, what be Jesus? But below that a second question said, what is the question? A third handwriting below both had written, who is Maddie and Felipe's brother? Of course, the answer is Jesus. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right. Good graffiti even before the time of Banksy. All right, Todd Helton here. Helton seen Gibson pretty well, actually. He's walked twice in this game. The lefty stands in against the legend. Future Hall of Famer against a Hall of Famer. And Helton swings on this one, but just a routine fly ball to right to Bryce Harper for out number 1. Andrew Jones, he was hit by a pitch, sacrificed in the 3rd, scoring Frank Robinson. Beautiful day here in Chicago. Winds have picked up a little bit now. 15 miles an hour in from right. It's April in Chicago. What do you expect? But rather balmy 58 degrees for Chicago in April. As Gibson deals the 1-2, and Andrew Jones just comes up empty. Bob Gibson bringing the heat in that trademark, just crazy flailing off the left side of the mound delivery. 2 away for second baseman Bobby Grich. So Grich struck out his last time up. Edgar Renteria waits on deck, 2 down. Here's the delivery. Grich. Oh my goodness. So this one a called strike 3. That is strikeout number 6 for Bob Gibson. And we head to the top of the 7th inning. And Detroit hanging on to a slim 4-3 lead. John DFW saying good morning to everyone. And to you as well, John. Good to see you. John is, I think, out near, in Robbie's area. Not sure. Oh, no, I know that he's from there, but I don't know if he's still there. I guess if that makes sense. Yeah, right, George Burns, no, not the comedian. Exactly, Aaron, right. All right, Shoeless Joe here, back at the top of the order for the Coyotes of Detroit. Jackson, Dunlap, and Bonds, and of course, real Coyotes sort of taking over parts of Detroit. Not sure if that's why Steve picked the name. Is a little bit of poke at the home of his every sports team. He's a Detroit guy all the way around. I performed in Detroit. Done some magic in Detroit. Interesting place. All right, lefty Jackson waits for the Silver King delivery. The 0-1 fastball, and this one scorched right for a base hit. Stanton knows that's a very, very fast shoeless Joe Jackson. Gets the ball in quickly. So Jackson aboard and a threat to steal. Let's see what Fred Dunlap does here. Dunlap is 1 for 3, singled way back in the first. He has been able to make contact each time off of Silver King. Jackson an aggressive lead at first. King checks the runner, throws over. Jackson diving under Helton's tag, gets up, dusts himself off, and no worse for wear. He is safe. King sets and fires to Dunlap. The 1-2, and Dunlap. This one getting the outside corner. Dunlap wanting the call, not getting it. That's strikeout number 6 for Silver King. So quite a performance by this pitcher. He has not walked a batter. Gibson has been plagued by a few bases on balls. Bonds 1 for 3. Big homer back in the 5th to give the Detroit Coyotes the 4-3 lead. That was back in the 5th, I'm sorry. Jackson into his lead, 1 down. King with the check of the runner. The 2-1 to Bonds. Fly ball to right, but Wrigley will hold this one. Giancarlo Stanton ranging to his right and making a trotting catch. 2 down, Jackson retreats to first, and here's Mark McGwire. McGwire has lined to left and struck out twice, so thus far at least Silver King has McGwire's number. Historic season when McGwire hit 70 home runs. The 0-1, McGwire swings. This one popped high to the left side. Harlan Cliff giving chase toward the third base side, and this one caught. 7th inning stretch time, and it's Detroit 4 and Des Moines 3. Yep, so John is in Central Time. Thought so. Yep, you have to get those last 4 notes in there. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 7th now. Good ball game that we have here. Let's look at the line of these teams really, really quickly. So the Detroit Coyotes, 4 runs, 9 hits, no errors. They've stranded 6. For the Des Moines Demons, 3 runs, 2 hits, 2 errors, and 4 stranded. So errors definitely a factor in this game today at Wrigley Field as we get ready for opening night or opening afternoon of the Howie Shanks 2.0. Thanks for hanging out, guys, and some baseball here around 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Cloudy day here in the Commonwealth of PA. Gibson deals the 0-2 delivery to Edgar Renteria, and Gibson picks up strikeout number 7. Big cut and a miss by Renteria. Renteria was looking to knock this into the furthest reaches of the Brownsville section of Pittsburgh. Wrigley Town, whatever you want to call it. Wrigleyville. My ex-wife and I actually almost bought a brownstone at the time, and this was around 2004, and they were actually really reasonably priced. I was really surprised. We were just a few blocks from Wrigley, and beautiful brownstone, but hadn't ended up staying where we were, unfortunately. Would have been nice, although Chicago was a bit safer back in 2004 than it is now. All right, Cracker Shock is nothing for 1. Sacrifice scoring Andrew Jones back in the 2nd. Bob Gibson in the game has now struck out 7 and walked 4. Touched up for only 2 hits. Gibby deals the 3-1. Shock swings. Fly ball. Big cheer, but it's just a big, loud out. And these Des Moines fans here at Wrigley just looking for something to cheer for. So 2 down. Harlan Clift, we're back to the top of the order for the Demons. Former St. Louis Brown. Has struck out and flied out twice. I wonder how well Harlan Clift is remembered by Baltimore Orioles fans, as the Baltimore Orioles are the relocated St. Louis Browns. Gibby deals to Clift, 2-1. Clift swings, fly ball. It's the Joe DiMaggio show in center field. Inning over, no runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the 8th inning, and it's still Detroit 4 and Des Moines Demons 3. Bryce Harper, Joe DiMaggio, and Johnny Bench. So fun to see all these names together, isn't it? Bryce Harper 2 for 3 in the game. He has struck out and singled twice. Pardon me. Silver Kings 0-2 delivery to Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper, fly ball to right. Stanton barely has to move to make the put out. 1 up, 1 down on that F9. And Joe 2 for 3. King winds and fires the 0-1 to DiMaggio. Fastball, DiMaggio. This one fly to kind of shallow center, so center fielder flying out to center fielder Andrew Jones. 2 quick outs here in the Detroit 8th. Johnny Bench 1 for 3. RBI double back in the first, but he struck out twice against Silver King. King delivers to Bench, the 1-1. Bench swings. This one, Renteria ranging to his left at short, and good strong peg to Todd Helton at first. Detroit goes in order. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It is still 4-3. Fans here at Wrigley trying to get something going. Starting to get louder here. One thing I always love about being a baseball fan is, you know, even as much as a traditionalist as I am, I love the scoreboards, make some noise, and just letting people just get crazy loud. I do have to, and a nod to Bill Veck, who, of course, the first exploding scoreboard, really the forerunner of all the crazy stuff that we see now, and a lot of fun. All right, Gibson now will face George Burns, Dave Concepcion, and then Joe Jackson. Or, I'm sorry, yeah, duh. It's early here for me. I was out late last night. George Burns, Frank Robinson, Giancarlo Stanton. Let's try that. Gibson deals. And swinging on this first pitch, a curveball, and Burns slaps this to right for a base hit. Bryce Harper playing that grounder, firing it into second baseman Fred Dunlap. So a very strong infield. We should mention this for these Detroit Coyotes. Felton Snow at third, Dave Concepcion at short, and Fred Dunlap at second, all rated 10s. McGuire, a little bit above average, but we know why Mark is in there. And here's Frank Robinson. A decent outfield, but this infield for Detroit is defensively is just amazing. All right, the Judge is nothing for 2, including a walk. Infield guarding the lines as George Burns is on first. Burns with 13 steals. Could be a risky move though. Bench with a 9 arm behind the plate. He's going to get to just about anything that comes his way. Gibson with the 1-0 delivery to Frank Robinson. The runner was going. Frank Robinson bounces this one to first. McGuire will take this unassisted. So the sort of swinging sacrifice, if you will, sends George Burns to second. So the tying run in scoring position now for the Des Moines Demons. And here's Giancarlo Stanton. Doubled in the second. He has struck out twice against Bob Gibson, who is fan 7. Quick look at Burns at first, peers in. Gibson has the target set from Johnny Bench. Here's the full count to Stanton. Curveball, and this one a called strike 3, and Des Moines not happy about that. Gibby picking up strikeout number 8. MV John Habers John Haber coming in. He says, Beatles, a pleasure to catch you live for a change. A pleasure to have you in here, my friend. John Haber, another very knowledgeable baseball fan. MV here at Wrigley Field as we close out this. We're getting close to the end of this exhibition game. Howie Shanks 2.0 starting sometime this afternoon, this evening on Steve Tate's channel. Absolutely, the Boo Birds are in flight. Yep, it is getting close to bingo time. We just need to get Mr. Tate to say when. He's going to keep us all in suspense, huh? So, John, thank you for coming in. John Haber, good to see you. All right, Todd Helton now 0 for 1, trying to get Burns in to tie this one up. It's been a good game thus far. At one point, for a brief time, the Coyotes with a 3-0 lead. The Demons coming back, answering for 2 in the bottom of the second, tying it up in the third. And then thanks to the Barry Bonds from run in the fifth, Detroit went ahead 4-3, and it's been 4-3 ever since. Crowd getting into this. Bob Gibson deals the 2-0. Todd Helton swings, long fly ball to left, but just too high and not deep enough. Barry Bonds makes the catch for out number 3. We have played 8 here at Wrigley, and it's the Detroit Coyotes 4 and the Des Moines Demons 3. Here in the 9th, we will see Felton Snow, Dave Concepcion, and Shoeless Joe Jackson for the Coyotes, holding on to this 4-3 lead. Snow 1 for 3, grounded to second his last time up. Silver King has fanned 6, still has not walked a batter, so good control by Snow and actually holding a very powerful lineup to just 4 runs. 2-2 pitch. Snow swings on this one. Fast ball. This one grounded into left for a base hit. Frank Robinson quickly up with it. Gets it into the infield. So let's look at Felton Snow there. Nice card. You can see the Negro League logo there for Felton Snow. 7 steals in the season from which he was selected. Silver King now. Let's have another look at Silver King. 19th century player here. To face Dave Concepcion. Nothing for 3 for Concepcion today. He was safe in a throwing error back in the second, scoring Felton Snow, who is now perched at first. Silver King has the target from Ray Shaw, toes the rubber, and the 1-0. Concepcion swings, bounding ball to short. Renteria will take it to the bag himself for 1, and they will not get Concepcion. But Renteria, nice try on that. This is perhaps an even stronger infield, by the way, for Des Moines, looking at these ratings. So Helton at 10, Grich at 10, Renteria at 10, and Harlan Clift at third at 9. So Rob definitely building for some defense here around the horn. So Renteria trying, let's look at that one again. Renteria making a nice attempt on that. So comes in, runs to second to get Snow, and then the strong throw, and Concepcion just beats it out. So Renteria makes the highlight reel on that one. Shoeless Joe now batting with 1 down and 1 on. Concepcion with 29 steals, so some speed at first for Detroit as Silver King sets and fires. Oh, no, he does not. He throws over, and Concepcion safe ahead of Helton's tag. King sets up once again, and full count to Shoeless Joe Jackson. This one catching the inside edge. So 2 away for Fred Dunlap. See a nice larger card of Fred Dunlap. So 2 19th century players facing one another. King shaking off Schalk, now has 1 he likes. Quick check of Concepcion at first. The 0-2 to Fred Dunlap now. Fastball swung on, grounded to Renteria at short, on to Helton for the 6-3 putout to end the inning. The runs, 1 hit, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Des Moines looking to try to tie it up and walk it off here at home. Play for the win on the road, the tie at home. Always get your last ups. Andrew Jones, nothing for one. He'll be followed by Bobby Grich and Edgar Renteria. Gibson sets and fires, 1-1. And curveball played on a hop by Joe DiMaggio and Andrew Jones aboard. So the tying run on for Des Moines here in the bottom of the ninth. And Bobby Grich having a rough time against Bob Gibson. He has struck out twice. Andrew Jones, conservative leadoff first. And Ginger Beaumont in as a pinch hitter. Concepcion will take it to second. The throw to first. And they will not get Ginger Beaumont. So let's look at Beaumont's numbers. That pinch hitter coming in quickly. Beaumont, 341 hitter. With 68 runs batted in, 23 steals, 7 home runs. Infield guarding the line, 1 away. And Beaumont, good lead off first. Edgar Renteria, 1 for 3. Des Moines looking for at least a tie here. And Gibson looking for a double play to end it. Gibby winds and deals. The 1-0 delivery to Edgar Renteria. Chopping ground ball to short. Concepcion will go to first. This is going to be close. And they get Renteria by a step. And now it's up to Ray Schalk, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Des Moines go to its bench here. Schalk, the light-hitting catcher. Nothing for 2. Just have a sacrifice. RBI. Gibson ready. Bench out to have a word. Back behind the plate. The 2-2 pitch to Ray Schalk. They're leaving him in, and that's the game. So this one, a strike 3 called. Ray Schalk, just a little knee buckler hitting the outside corner. And Detroit wins this exhibition game 4-3 over Des Moines. So because it's an exhibition game, not going to do any real recap except to say that highlights for Detroit. Barry Bonds went 1 for 4 with a home run. Joe DiMaggio 2 for 4 with a double. But some credit to Des Moines. I mean, they fought and kept a very, very powerful team quiet. So good stuff. Both pitchers go in the distance. That's what we'd like to see. None of that quality start nonsense. So there we go. That does it. You left me a message in Discord. All right, well, thank you, Aaron. John Haber says, Beatles have been basking in that smooth delivery of yours. He's going back to catch it all. Really a classy setup and very visually appealing. You and Steve are A+. John, that means so very much. Thank you. I'm just here to have some fun, and I'm glad you enjoy it. It means so much to me. Thank you so very much. Okay, and John DFW says Beatles. He says I renamed the old Discord. Let me know if you want me to do anything else with it. I appreciate you, John. Really do. And Aaron, I will check your message in Discord. So I'm going to check just a quick. My Pirates are they had a spectacular April, and May not looking good, man. We're getting hurt by this Toronto team. So they're in a delay. The Bucks and the Blue Jays each at 20 and 14, but this is kind of getting a little scary. Best team in baseball in April, and now we're on a 6-game skid. Somehow we're holding on to a 1.5 game lead in the National League Central, but I don't know. The Cubs and Cincinnati. The Cubs have won 2. Cincinnati won their last game. So getting a little bit nervous here in Pittsburgh Pirate Land. All right. Yeah, exactly, right? And I think just getting absolutely clobbered, right, by the Blue Jays. Or no, I mean by the Rays, I should say, right? And I think you're demoralized. And then the Bucks but not getting it done against the Jays. I thought that would have been a nice bounce back series for us, but Tampa Bay is just eating everybody alive right now. Tough team, and it's kind of a shame that they don't get the support that they do. I don't really see Tampa Bay staying there. Maybe Charlotte will finally get. They've been clamoring for a major league franchise for how long? So yeah, absolutely killing it this year. So I wanted to ask you guys in the channel if at some point you'd be into seeing every once in a while a little bit of MLB the Show on here. Let me know. Wouldn't be something I would necessarily be broadcasting right away, but just to play a little baseball. I'm playing an all-time greats league on there, which is fun. Just kind of spectating it. Um, it's kind of my TV version of baseball for Windows. Anyhow, I don't want to hold anybody up. I'm not sure what Steve's plans are, so I don't want to get into one of these marathon streams. So I want to thank Aaron Reed, Big Clue, John Haber, who I do not get to see very much. I'm glad he was in here today. My broadcasting times do not coincide with when John is on. Uh, John DFW, MV, who I hope will be doing a game today or tonight as well as Steve Tate. But I think it's fair that definitely that Steve Tate should be with all the work that he's done, and certainly Big Clue, if you're a content creator, I think you both should be doing it. In fact, it'd be nice if you and Steve would go on and do our inaugural game. I mean, I'm nominate. I mean, I'm one of the commissioners of this league, but these guys are really right. There's three of us. These two are the real deal, and hopefully maybe Big Clue can be persuaded to provide some color for Steve or what have you. And let's kick this off in style with two guys who, without them, this would not have happened. Taking Todd B's idea and making it a beautiful reality. So hope to see you guys at Steve Tate's channel this afternoon or this evening. Yes, as I promised you, Aaron, and I've not broken any promises with you. I'll work with you tomorrow on some baseball for Windows. I'd rather just do that um, with you, I think. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. And until we see you at the um, opening afternoon or night festivities for Howie Shanks 2.0, see you around the batting cage. Take care.